Hey there guys, how we doing? Today we're going to be looking at something I don't usually cover too much of, and that would be a squonk mod. I'm not like real big on squonking, not to say I haven't been throughout my time vaping, but I just mean as of late. You guys can see that I'm mostly focused on Boro mods and I like RTAs a lot, but squonking definitely has its place, and today we're going to be looking at an unusual one. So the BMM Box Mod Mafia Tiny V3. The Tiny V3 is a unique BMM mod because, well, BMM started out mostly as like a 3D printed high-end, small production brand specifically for squonk mods. There's a lot about squonk mods. Now you have regular standard box mods too, of course, but I think squonking is where it really picked up momentum. And this one, for being one of the more current ones, it still just seems so old school in today's day and age. So, firstly, it's a dual battery. Okay, you don't see too many high-end mods that are dual battery to begin with. It's a dual 18650. Now, when we do some close-ups, you'll be pretty impressed to see how small it is for being an 18650 dual battery mod. It also features a DNA 250C chipset in it from Evolve. Another obscure thing you don't see too often in high end. That being said, it features a lot of similarities that you'd find on other mods that have this, chipset faceplate style. Like, I can almost guarantee that the Stashbox faceplate can fit onto this Tiny. They look identical, okay? And then you can kind of mix match colors and patterns, so it's versatile in that effect. And Charles has told me that having like universal type parts, interchangeable parts, was always a really big thing for him, like that he really wanted to incorporate in all his stuff. So making sure that the buttons are swappable, all that kind of stuff. It really comes through. Tiny, it features this recess 510 that you'll also see in like the Billy Club. Now I have a review for the Billy Club V2 collab version. It's something I did a little while back, and unfortunately it was taken from me. I don't have it anymore, but I'd say that was my favorite squonk mod to use ever. Just the hand feel of it was like perfect. But yeah, let's bring this down. We'll talk about the similarities of that and just the shape of this. It's really nice. So talk a little bit about the history of it, what I know, and where you can find out more about it. And yeah, just the overall aesthetic and design of it. And we'll go from there. Okay? Okay, so let's go over some of this here. We have our close-up of the Tiny V3. Now, I don't have any packaging for it. BMMs usually come in some kind of pouch. You have like these newer vinyl type pouches. And then you have the older actual like leatherette pouches like this. Okay. And they'll also come with, some kind of authenticity card like so. Now, he may have that, he may not. I know this was, first off, thanks to Justin for letting me borrow this, make this review on it. I don't really think there's much coverage on these mods, so I thought it would be a great one to show you guys. So he bought it secondhand, so I don't know if his came complete with everything, and he just kind of left it out or forgot it or whatever, but just to run that by you, there is some packaging that comes with this that I suggest you hold on to for the collectability aspect, the resale, and just having the authenticity card is very important. Up until recently, there were no clones of this, so, but I think the clone will jump out and smack you in the face. But just in case, it's good to have proof of authenticity. So, okay, so the button on here, this is called, what do we call this? A married button. The ones with the rings that go around them. I think they can either be silver or gold. But yeah, that's just certain terminology that you would find on the website. We're looking at a custom themed layout here on the 250C, and the shape is just really cool. It's a really neat shape. It has these strange wedged contours to it, so that it ends up being really good in the hand. Really works perfect in the hand. I like to do a right hand with a little thumb fire. Now with most of my mods, I'm rarely pressing fire buttons with my actual center of my thumb or an index finger or anything like that. I usually hit the fire buttons with the inside knuckles of my hands, whether it's my thumb or even index finger. It's usually a double jointed type, right at the joint, I guess, the inner knuckle, and that's how I use this. Yeah, I mean, just interesting, almost like trapezoidal shape on this, right? And if I take this off, this is the Vaponaut Supersonic RDA. I put this in my top 10 RDA video. You take the RDA off, you see just how much lower the RDA actually sits in there. So that's the recessed 510. I always like when mods have that. Sometimes they have a little catch cup. I mean, if it's the right size, it'll be great for when you have a beauty ring on here. And this is slightly bigger than most high-end RDAs. This is actually a 24 millimeter. So there's really no room to put a beauty ring on here. Otherwise I would. But it'll be great for if you have a 22 millimeter RDA, which most high-end single coil ones are. And then you could put a beauty ring on it. The pin for the 510 is adjustable. You would put in a nice little, Allen wrench or whatever, hexed wrench, and you can twist that, and that will raise and lower the height of the RDA. And you might say, well, why do you want to do that? I'm used to, say you're used to Chinese-made mods that have spring-loaded 510s that are supposed to adjust for you. Well, they don't always match up right for everything. There's such a variety of products out there. It's hard to really pinpoint the height. So you don't want any gaps, you know what I mean? You want to ensure that you'll have connection. And it also works out good if you have, if you're using RBAs that screw directly onto the mod, like a dope or something, or a mob, the height on them varies so much, so it may not go down far enough. It may be sticking up too high. So having an adjustable 510, allows you to manually get in there and get it, just right. And this will also, work out when you have beauty rings, or you want certain logos to line up, or the airflow to come out a certain way. I mean, having a manual 510. I used to think it was a chore. I didn't like it. And then I realized how useful it actually is. So here's a Squevo Squonk mod from Cyclone Mods. And this was probably my first manual 510 like that. Also Squonk mod. This is a single 18650, and you could see just how much taller it is than this dual battery mod. Here is an eLeaf Pico Squeeze, and you can see how short this is. This is a single 21700, but like it's quite wide, right? So, you know, just thought I would throw up some other mods for comparative purposes. Here's a Pulse X. This does 21700s, so not much taller to take a single 21. And here is a Squeezer single 21700. So those are some Squonk mods to show you for comparison. Here it is next to a billet box to see the size comparison. An Ion. And then let's put it up against the BMM. So here is the 38 Special. And yeah, the 38's just a little taller, this being a 21700. The width on it, you know. Unfortunately, I don't have more BMM Squonks to really compare to, but you still get the idea a bit with, you know, here's the stash box. Okay, and then, you know, with the Borat. Yeah, so there's that for sizing. So I believe here we have the difference from the previous iteration of the Tiny. And yeah, I mean, we have all sorts of examples of patterns that he did for these. Some plain patterns, it looks like a gray. There's a purple, magenta or whatever. The patterns that he did on these, I actually like a good bit. I mean, when he has to do patterns, they're not transferable, like, just from mod to mod. Like, he has to go all out and, like, remake it, like, for each particular mod. Here's the Goyard pattern, probably his most popular pattern. I think everyone likes that. I know I do. That's different. I like that. And look, we have, like, a, what do we call that? Not a splash, but a fade, I believe. Really neat coloring there. I really like the buttons for it as well. Here's a more floral one, which I like. Houndstooth. I'm really big on the houndstooth styling. I like the marble black and white buttons too. So yeah, you know, you're getting an idea of the circuit patterns, the, you know, different wavy whatever. I mean, well, that's a neat one. Honeycomb looking thing. Here's a more bright color. So you get the idea. And then here's a, you know, your standard splash type. It's a circuit. So, you know, those are the Tinies that he did. I didn't even realize that he discontinued it. I guess they just weren't selling. It says still serviceable. Repairs and body swaps are still available. Just no longer available to order. And I feel like, okay, so updated May 9th. I knew he canceled some mods, retired some mods, like the Borat, for example. Even the Borat R, I don't believe you can get anymore. So, pretty shocking. But, you know, when I was ordering from BMM in, what was that, March, you could still get it. And so here's the previous mod was the Tiny 2.5, V2.5, and you can see, look at it right there. You can see how much thicker of a mod it is. I mean, that's left and right hand orientation, but you can still get a good idea of how much beefier this thing was. Yeah, like, wow, it's a lot bigger. You don't see too many of his mods in white. That's interesting. But yeah, you know, different faceplates on them. So yeah, the 2.5. Yeah, I mean, it wasn't that long ago that he made this change that you can't acquire one of these anymore. So it's a bit of a novelty now at this point, or more of like a, I don't know, historical review, if you want to call it that. I believe he's either gotten rid of or is getting rid of the Nicely, which is his side-by-side-ish type mod. And he's going to be doing a new side-by-side style. So looking forward to that. You know, and then here's a lot of the older mods, like the Punk 2.7, the Snitch, the Hitman. Looks like even the Blackjack is discontinued. Because now we have the Gambler. So, you know, he's just keeping things fresh, updating things. Snitch V2. Even this mod as well, the Stashbox 2.1. This is also retired. So, you know, he's just keeping things moving, basically. I'd say the Bootlegger, the Gambler, the 45, Colt 45, I think that was just like a brief thing. You won't be seeing much of that. I think there was only like 20 or 25 of them even made. Yeah. The original Stash Box is also gone. You know, they have the Stash Box R at the moment. So yeah, I mean, it's a little slice of history here. I believe all BMMs have BMM written on the bottom in some way, shape, or form. You know? So yeah, this feels more like my first Borat that I had, which was also black. It feels more like that. Like, it still has some texture to it. It definitely doesn't feel like your standard 3D print. I mean, it feels leaps and bounds better than something like this. But it doesn't quite feel like... I feel like the colored ones had like a little something extra to them. And then this is the sealed, you know, high gloss type one. So that's even more different. But, you know, just going from this one to this one, there's something there. All the mods are technically black. And it's just the dyeing process that's done to it that, you know, gives it its color. But unless it's sealed, and even if it is sealed, that color can be worn away. But, you know, the sealing aspect, the sealed ones now, they don't look sealed. They almost look like they would be this unsealed, you know, gets like that distressed look. Yeah, that's kind of the way they are now, but apparently the sealant itself is updated enough that it's going to work better for like when they get wet, you know, not to leave stains. This one had a number of areas where staining took place, but, you know, it gives it character. It's all part of its story, right? Yeah, he's also changed where he gets his coloring from. I don't know how to sound more elaborate about it, but, you know, his dyes, I guess. He gets the materials to do it through a different company now as of lately. So if the colors seem a little tweaked, a little different, that's why. And yeah, so here's our themes. This is the same theme. I had this on my Borat, or on my Billy Club V2, actually. Same theme Justin picked. So, yeah, I guess that's everything. Oh yeah, lastly, I mean, I'm sure I've mentioned this before in my other review, but I truly love the way the Squonk bottles work for his mods. So they're all like this, by the way. You have your bottle, take it out, and he goes with this method, this steel or whatever it is, metal rod that goes down, and the juice goes up through the bottom. So you're always getting, a good to the last drop kind of thing. It's kind of weird. You can see the battery cell through that, so I'm surprised that's not completely covered. There's probably a reason for it, maybe accessibility or something. You can see underneath there is yet another BMM stamp. That one also features, like, does it have a little hat? The fedora guy on it? I think it does. I think on the opposite side there's the little fedora guy. So, or part of them anyway. Anyhow, what I was trying to say about these rod things. So, when you squonk it, you do feel that in there. And at first it may be a little jarring and you don't like it. But I'm telling you, it's very useful. It makes refilling a lot easier. Because once you take this out, you can literally just put the nozzle right up to it and refill it, and there you go, bada bing. And you can unscrew these. You really have no reason to, unless you're really doing a thorough cleaning. But yeah, and I mean, it just always slides right up. The odds of it ever coming out on its own are very slim. I do really like these squonk bottles. The method that he goes with on them. A lot of other things, they make a mess. I've never had that Grim Green squonk mod, the Empire. But that seems like one that would be pretty tidy as well. Like, you wouldn't make a huge mess using that. But yeah, great design. But yeah, I mean, I guess this is it just wasn't what people want. I guess he wasn't selling that many of them, so, he just kind of discontinued it. It's good to have a variety of offerings, though. This being a dual 18650, you definitely get that battery life, but, I don't know, weight-wise, it doesn't really feel that much heavier than anything else. I mean, it's 3D printed. So, would it have mattered if you kept it around? I don't know. I think maybe it's more of a symbolic thing, like just, lay it to rest or put it behind you kind of thing. The door on this is great. So it's just one of these. And, with his mods, it's all about just lining up where the latch is, finding that first. And that's it. Every time. Works great. Even from this angle, I always just really admire the way the squonk bottles look in there. But yeah, great tapered wedge effect here on the shape. These slants, these cuts. It's awesome. And yeah, you could have gotten this left or right hand orientation. Like, my billy club was technically a left hand orientation, even though I'm right-handed, and I actually liked it like that. I used to just go like this, and again, use my thumb and squonk it with the thumb knuckle again, the middle thumb knuckle. So, okay, I guess I said everything about it. Yeah, I think these were like $280 brand new, and I think Justin paid around that price, even secondhand. So this isn't one that has a crazy high. I mean, all BMM mods are sought after, but I would say this mod in particular and a couple others, they end up being a little lower on the resale value, or just the value in general, because, they're not as sought. So, yeah, cool little mod, something to try out, and, it's a shame, maybe a lot of people may just use them as bargaining chips or something, but I think he does a great squonk mod all around. If I was just maybe a little bit more into squonking, I mean, I still would like to get another Billy Club V2. I think I like it better than the new Gambler even. I don't know, it just really resonated with me, so. Hey, alright. So we got our Tiny all set up, and I'll learn more about this thing, because most BMM mods have the model written somewhere on the mod. Usually the bottom just has BMM written on it, and on the sides you will see the model that it is. So like here on the stash box, you know, right here it says stash box 2.1. Yeah, this was a little more ambiguous, so what I decided to do is plug it in to eScribe Evolve. That is the chip. And now that it's plugged in, we can have a look here on the laptop and get some info about it. You know, when it was made. That's one of the great things about BMM. Charles is rather thorough, and he hooks these up. You know, he customizes them to you know, a specific preference, and he goes all out and puts all the information in it. Exactly when this thing was made, where it's made, what number it is in terms of like the model itself, the current board that's in it, because, you know, you may send it back if you have a dead board and get a new board put in. So any major changes, you know, if it goes back to him to be refurbished in any way, he will put that updated information in there. So it's almost like having, you know, Carfax or something. It's pretty cool. You know, you're not going to find many modders that take the time to do something like this. And, you know, it's something that kind of gets overlooked. And I just definitely feel like it's about time, you know, somebody points some of this stuff out. So the serial number, you would see at the top there. Let's see if we can bring this in a little bit. I'm not sure how close of focus we can get. There we go. So the serial number is not numbers, they're letters, as you can see. And then the product history, so it was made on a... Now, Sunday is usually the day that he announces the winners. So makes me wonder if that's when it was sold or created. I'm not too sure. I'm gonna go with created, okay? Programmed or whatever. So this is a Tiny V3. So I knew it was a V3, but the fact that it doesn't actually have it written on there, whereas a lot of the other ones, they do have it written on there. So if you were to go into the Facebook group, what you'd see, and you know, that's another, the Charles's private Facebook group is also very elaborate in detail. It's tough to navigate. These kind of details don't just jump out at you, but if you took the time, you'd find a lot of information. You can find out just how many of each mods there really are, the collabs. So usually if, you know, every time he finishes a mod, he takes a picture of it. And all the pictures he does in the same fashion. You know, so there'll be different colors, and these are all customer, you know, proof of completion, I guess we'll call it. Sorry about the focus here. So yeah, if I find, where was it? Oh, here we are, the Tiny V3. So the mule has 96 photos. So I guess it's, sorry. So I only have a small range here, focus. So I guess it's safe to assume there's, what, like 96 mules? If I go to the Tiny V3, it says discontinued, and it says 31 photos. So I suppose there's only 31 of them floating around. And like I said, if you go on here and click on basically any of them, it says it on the mod. You can see it says Tiny V3 written on there, like most of the other mods, and these have patterns as well, so it's not a pattern thing. Here's yet another one. Oh, you can't even see it, but it's there. It says Tiny V3. So, what's going on? Why is that like that? I really don't know. Here's one with the same pattern, and it doesn't have that the writing on there. Same pattern as this mod I have here. So maybe it's something to do with that mod, or, you know, order of completion. Here's one with a different pattern that also doesn't have it. So maybe it came out later. That picture said September. This is August. No, so it looks like the earlier ones had it, and then I guess he did away with it. Yeah, okay. Very interesting. The first picture I have for any of these is April 15th, 2021. This particular model we're looking at today is from August 8th, 2021. Made in New Mexico, USA, which is where Charles is. And yeah, pretty interesting. This is number 14. So this is not a mod that's in high demand, I guess. There's not that many of them floating around, and I guess because, you know, a lot of the other mods, you know, take precedent over this, you're not going to see a lot of them. So, okay, I'm going on and on here. I'll see you guys next time. Take care now. Bye.